Good evening, good evening. Your girl Menina is back with another episode of this Sip and Chat. So tonight I'm going to have author Kay McCoy on. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty, so I'm going to bring her on in a few minutes, so never fear. So I just wanted to come on and introduce myself. So if you've never seen an episode of the Sip and Chat, kind of get an idea of what we do here. This is your first time watching, my name is Menina, and I own Legacy BookBar. It is an online bookstore that caters to Black self published authors. I absolutely love the idea. I'm so glad that I came up with it with the help of some really good close friends and family. And when I tell you, I have met some amazing people in my journey of this book industry. One of the people that I have recently met is the guest that we're going to have tonight. So, like I said, never fear. If you're family and friends of author Kay McCoy, don't worry, she'll be back on. Like I stated, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but as soon as she comes back, we will get started with the sip and chat. So while I have you, I guess I can tell you about some of the cool things that are going to be happening soon at Legacy Book Bar. So, as you know, tomorrow we have resumed our monthly book club meetings. And at our book clubs, we actually have the authors on our calls. It's a very intimate setting. We don't do those live, we just do them via the store, virtually, of course. And we talk about the who, the what, the when, the characters. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad that character died. Oh my gosh, that book has such a happy ending. Where's the sequel to this book? Where's the trilogy to this story? We talk about the nitty gritty of the book. Tomorrow, I have the pleasure of having one of our newest author, Jay Asmara, on, and we are going to talk about her urban novel, Blood Money. Baby, when I tell you the characters in this story took me for a ride, I cannot wait to talk to her about this story. I have my questions ready, and we are going to talk about this story. Next week we are having a panel on the Sip and Chat as we start Black Children's Book Week. So we are going to have a panel discussion of multiple authors, and we are going to talk about the importance of reading with our youth, our Black and brown babies. We are going to talk about the positive imagery in reading with our children, and why they decided that writing a children's book was important to them. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that you tune in next week when we talk with the panel. Got a couple of more guests lined up in this new season of the Sip and Chat. So you are going to want to make sure that you're tuned in every Friday night at 8 o'clock as we talk with our newest and latest guest. I got something in the works with Divine Legacy Publishing. We got something coming up there. I'm going to keep it a little bit of a secret until we can hash out the fine details, but we also should be rolling that out next Friday on the Sip and Chat. What else exciting is happening? We're thinking about doing a spring book fair. That's really exciting and cool. Now, on Facebook, we heard that it was a joke that, adults need a scholastic book fair with wine. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do that with the flair that I bring to certain events when I host them. So you're going to want to keep that in mind as we roll into the nice weather of the spring coming into the summer. And then, of course, I'm working on, the third annual Legacy Book Bar Book Summit. That's coming up mid-October. So we're going to work on that. That's going to be great. We had a really great turnout last year. So, this year we're going to want to make sure that we can top what we did last year. So if you're interested, just make sure that you listen out for when that more information drops on that. You're going to want to make sure you share with your author friends because that's where they're going to want to be come October. So it looks like I might have my guest back. So I'm going to bring her into it. Don't fear. We might have a little technical difficulties. Hopefully it works out. But if not, just bear with us. this is the power, hey, this is technology life in this COVID world. We're going to do the best that we can here at the Sip and Chat, okay? Let's welcome our guest. Hey, Arthur K. McCoy. Welcome back.
Hello. I am so sorry. Hello, everybody.
It is
Yeah,
so great.
yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Arthur K. McCoy, she found us through Instagram through the Be Bold, Be Heard campaign. So, with this campaign is I open it up to the floor. So, I've pretty much, I think, interviewed majority, if not all, of the authors that are associated with Legacy Book Bar, and some of them have actually been on multiple times. So, I said, well, it's more authors out there. I have to meet them. As an avid reader, how will I read their books if I don't know where they are? So I decided to create the Be Bold, Be Heard campaign, and that allows authors like Kay McCoy to come on and we can talk about their who, what, when, why journey of their writing career right here on the Sip and Chat. This week is Kay McCoy's turn. So, hey, girl.
Yay. Hey, thank you again. It's been interesting. I'm glad that I'm here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So before we get into your writing journey, since this is our first time meeting, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. I am self-published, have been since 2017, and I love traveling. So the last 2 years have been hard for me because I've been in one spot for the last 2 years, and that is so not like me. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just been trying to keep myself busy, trying to stay productive, trying to stay motivated, and I guess be resilient because that is something we all need right now. But yeah, I like listening to music, long walks on the beach, trap yoga. So yeah.
Well, I love, oh gosh, I can't wait till the weather change and I can walk on the beach. I'm so ready for this.
It's been a while since I've been to the beach, but yeah, I can't wait for the weather to change either. It's almost cherry blossom season, and I really do love cherry blossom. So luckily, I'm not too far from Washington, D.C., so I might make the trip, but I don't know yet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into why you're here. So
yes.
We're gonna ease her into the Sip and Chat. She's a newbie here. We're not gonna scare her too much, okay? We're just gonna
I'm ready. Come on. Yeah. Let me get my Viola Davis gift right here. I'm ready. Come on, let's go.
Okay. So tell us, first, let me go back. What genre do you write in?
I write romance. That's my genre. But I also write subgenres. So yeah, I got a lot of different works in progress right now.
And everyone that has watched the Sip and Chat knows that Menina's favorite genre is for sure romance. Absolutely, for sure. Well, hello, our first guest audience. Hello, Karen. That's my mom. She's here every week. She's great.
Love it. Hey, Mom.
It's great. So, what made you decide to start writing, even without just being romance? What just made you start writing?
Honestly, I would say 1996. I was in middle school, so yeah, do the math.
Okay.
I was in middle school and I discovered Maya Angelou, and I wanted to be just like her, outspoken and just share whatever came to mind. And I started like writing down her poems and quotes and like memorizing them and telling everybody else about them. And then as I got older, I started getting books as gifts, and I just started writing like little snippets in between, like, oh, this would have been nice if they did this, and I didn't realize at the time that that's not something you're supposed to do. Like that's something else entirely what I was doing. But I was 12, so I didn't know. And then just, life happened. I kind of put it to the backside because I didn't really have anybody to encourage what I was doing. I still had not had a name for it. And then high school came and went, and I went out in the world, got a real job, and thought I was on the right track, and I still wasn't happy. So I
Mm.
started writing, just writing random thoughts. Ended up publishing those at first because that was my first collection of poetry. And then I said,
Oh.
you know what? It's time for you to start writing these stories, even if they don't go anywhere, just so you can say that you have them out. And
Mhm.
that's when I said, oh, snap, I actually think I might be a writer. Look at that. And then here we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the title of your first book?
Well, my first full novel or my first published work?
Let's go
'Cause
with both of them since you gave me options. Let's go with both.
well, I like giving people options. That's
I
kind of my
appreciate it.
thing. My first collection of poetry is Soprano Speaks Volume 1 because I really thought I was doing something with that name.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I thought I was really going hard with that name. Like I got something to say.
Okay. I love
So
it.
yeah, that was my first collection of poetry, and then my first collection of short steamy stories is under Sweet Seducing Sighs, and my first full novel is A Dove's Cry, which I released in December of last year.
Very nice. Very
So
nice.
it's been a journey.
I bet. I bet. So how do you feel now that you have published your stories?
You know, I thought I would be used to hitting that publish button, but I'm still a junkie for it. I still want to get my story ready and go through the editing process, even though I know it's going to be tough, just so I can
Mhm.
hit that button and say my work is out there and just hit that publish button. So I still love it. I know some people are like, oh, it wears off. And I'm like, not for me, because I didn't even know I could be doing this in high school. So to be doing it now is just like, bet, I'm going to keep doing it.
So you actually brought up a good point. You said that in high school you really didn't have anyone to encourage your writing. So
Mhm.
I bring that to say next week's episode, we actually to celebrate. Let me go back. Next week
Mhm.
episode, we have a panel where we're going to have authors that have written children's books, and that's one of the
Oh,
questions we're going to talk about is
yeah.
encouraging a reading in a positive
Mhm.
manner and not as a means of punishment, and
Mhm.
then encouraging the children to start writing, start graphic
Mhm.
designing, starting.
Mhm.
We have some very talented youth out there, and just if
Mhm.
they had that one person to push
Yeah.
them a little further, what path could they have gone
Mhm.
in college, in a
Yeah.
trade, something
Mhm.
that would not is that harness the right word?
Maybe
Yeah,
foster. That's what I was thinking, like
foster,
foster
yeah,
or like encourage. Yeah.
that
I
create
I have
creativity
I
side.
have a friend who does that. She actually her name is Rochelle and she
Mhm.
runs Ford magazines and her daughter has published books. And I think
Mhm.
it's the coolest thing to see her like support her daughter in her pursuit of like getting out there and being published because it's not an easy thing even as an adult. So when I hear kids want to do this, it's like
Mhm.
let the babies do their thing. Like somebody
Yes.
help them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
always I always tell my authors on the show that I'm so
Mhm.
proud of
Mhm.
what they do. The fact that you
Mhm.
can be, and this is no matter what genre you write, that you're
Mhm.
vulnerable enough to be able to put into words,
Yeah.
be it romance, be it self help, be it
Mhm.
urban fiction, that you are letting your creative juices flow, put it to
Mhm.
print, and you have no idea how receptive that book will be to the
Mhm.
public. And
Yeah.
then in turn, you have the babies like, I'm gonna just jump off the cliff
I
because I want to do it. I love it.
Kids have a fearlessness about them.
For
Like
sure.
they haven't been scorned by the world yet. They haven't really been like hit with like the harsh truths and sometimes that,
Mhm.
it's just too much in the world. So I appreciate that in kids. Like they remind you, like it's okay, if it's something you want to do, be fearless in that pursuit and do it. And
Mhm.
just seeing them do things that it took me how long to where I am now to realize that I could do this. And now they're kids and they're like, I want to be an author. I want to be an illustrator. I want to tell
Mhm.
children. I want to do. I'm like, you know what, baby, go do it. Go out there and do it. Don't let nobody tell you you can't. You haven't even tried. You go out there and do
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Yes, mama. Let the babies spread
Babies.
their wings for sure.
Exactly. Don't clip
Absolutely.
them.
Not at all. Let them, especially it's it's a lot of us in
Mhm.
the book industry, but it's
Mhm.
not a lot of us in the book industry. And
I
you,
get that.
you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of us, but
Mhm.
it's not a lot of us that we
Mhm.
can really make some noise and
Yeah.
really get our books to the front where
Mhm.
they should be.
Mhm.
Again, this is why we created Legacy Book Bar, because
Yeah.
here we are. Because
I
this,
love that name, by the way. When I
thank
found that on
you.
Instagram, I'm like, book, I love it.
Yes. So for those that are tuning in that does not know the meaning behind Legacy Book Bar, we're going to tell you what that is. So legacy, of
Mhm.
course, I want to leave something to my babies. My kids are 22. Well, this year will be 22, 20, and 8. I
Mhm.
don't do the math because that math is not going math right. So don't do the math, okay? Just let it
When it
go.
comes to Black women, I don't do the math because we've been kissed by the sun. Our hair
Yes,
grows up to the clouds. I don't listen. I don't
thank
question nothing when
you.
it comes to Black women. 10 toes down every day. Like, okay, none of your
Just
baby's
go get
good.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
hmm
So, I wanted something for me, but then I also
hmm
wanted, when my time is coming to the end, what can I leave my babies? What legacy can I leave to them? What can they be proud of that mommy was able to do and secure for them? So that's how legacy came in.
Aw,
Then of
I
course
love
books,
it.
because this is why we're here.
hmm
Books. And then for those that know me, Menina is always some kind of form of fashion have a glass of wine in her hand. So I want to go to a bookstore where if I want to sit in the cafe, I might not want coffee. I might have taken my kids to swim lesson or taken my son to karate. I might want to buy this new book and drink a glass of wine because it's 6:30 and I had a rough day. And I put all that together, and
hmm
this is how we came up with Legacy Book Bar. So
I
that is
love
the
it.
story on how we got there. But the meaning behind it was, if you take away me being the owner of a bookstore,
hmm
I want to go into a bookstore. I'm once a week, at least twice a month, I'm in a bookstore. I'm looking
hmm
for us. I'm looking for a new book. I'm looking for that new Black author, and I'm seeing the same ones. Now, don't get me wrong, that is perfect,
hmm
but those same ones, I've already followed them. I've already purchased
hmm
majority, if not all. Where's the new ones? And I can't
Yeah.
find them. And it was blowing my mind. So after years and months of like, what, why can't I? On Amazon you can find anything, but
Anything.
you're a reader, you want to go into the store, you want to take the book, you want to flip it over, you might want to read the first couple of pages to see if it grabs you. You want to smell the pages, and
Yeah.
I couldn't smell the pages because I couldn't find the books that I wanted.
hmm
Tyler Perry, when he finally unveiled Tyler Perry Studios, he said, and I remember this so vividly. He said, "I got tired of being asked to the table, so
hmm
I created my own table." When I tell you that hit my whole
Like.
spirit, I said,
hmm
"That's what you need to do.
hmm
Stop being mad that they don't have us, and
hmm
create an avenue for us."
For us. hmm
So, Legacy Book Bar, I said it earlier in the show that we cater But we're not exclusive, but we definitely cater to
Okay.
self-published authors because the stigma behind being self-published is still very
It's
big.
staggering.
It
Even now,
is.
in the midst of a pandemic.
It is like, oh, you weren't good enough. Or I just said, it's so much bigger than that. I
Yeah,
said,
there's so many reasons why people choose to
so many
self-publish.
reasons.
It's like,
And with that, tell us, why did you decide to self-publish? I ask this of all of my authors because we have them all. So why
yeah.
did you?
Mhm. Well, I have several reasons. Like traditional publishing and self-publishing. I literally sat down and I looked at the pros and cons, and I said, I don't want to have to wait to find somebody to really push my agenda because I feel like no one's going to work hard for me than me. I know with traditional publishing, you need to have a phenomenal, an amazing agent. And just navigating the traditional world, and when it comes to publishing, did not excite me. And I don't like being on someone else's timeline. Um, the way that advances are done, it just seems a little sketchy, like they're just trickling you along. And then what if they
Mm,
don't pick up my story and I decide that I want to make it, a sequel or a series? And being told, oh, well, no, the market's not really hot for this right now. I was like, to me, that feels like it's kind of like it stunts your creativity in a way. So I
mm-hmm,
just said, I'm gonna leave this alone and I'm going to explore self-publishing and see what comes of that. And I'm like, you know what? I can rock with this. I can do something with this. And I figured out like, okay, this is my method. Like I figured out how to get better at certain things that I didn't want to do because I knew the end result would be me having my work out there. And I
mm-hmm,
would get to meet other really good authors and keep improving my writing. So that right there was like the carrot for me.
mm. Awesome.
That kept me going. Yeah.
Okay.
And along the way, I've learned so much. Like right now, if I wanted to, I could venture into like helping other authors with self-publishing, but it's
Mm-hmm,
just like, now I'm gonna sit that one out because I know how much work goes into it now.
mm-hmm. I
It's like,
have three really good girlfriends. And
mhm.
I'm so proud, they're my black girlfriends and I love them. And they own their own publishing companies.
Yeah,
So
that's
for
a big
me,
deal.
I said,
Mhm.
"What you mean you an author?" No, I just read your book. And they're like, "Yeah, but they had to get published and edited and I have my own
Mhm.
company." What?
Mhm.
What you
It's
mean?
a whole thing. When
It's
I
a
hear Black
whole thing.
female publishers, like that right there, I'm like, ooh, talk to me because
Yes,
I know what goes into that. It's like, woo,
yes, yes.
like as an author. Mhm.
I'm going to shout out Indy Jones and Amanda Chambers and Nicole Kurtz for
Mm.
my three fabulous ladies that
You
are
know Miss
associated.
Amanda Chambers? See, Divine Legacy, they everywhere. I'm telling you,
That's my boo thing.
everywhere.
That is my boo
Everywhere.
thing. Divine.
I'm
Matter of
not
fact,
even surprised.
Amanda Chambers
That's
was on
good piece.
last week of the Sip and Chat,
Hmm.
and she'll be back on. She was on last week. She
Yeah.
actually will be back on next week when we talk about the Black children's books. So yes, and
Oh.
because I sit here every week to do the podcast, we
Hmm.
still have Amanda's book on the table. But who's she? And my
She
mama
been
said,
I remember
yes.
meeting her because I'm originally from Florida, and I was about to start working with her, and then I started traveling, and after that I didn't look back, and I was like, now that I'm back in the States, I was like, I need to touch base with her because she been making boss moves. So
Yes, that is my boo thing. So Amanda and
your
I are
boo thing.
spirit animals. We are spirit animals that we grew up in Baltimore before she moved down to North
Hmm.
Carolina. And we were
Yeah.
less than a mile away from each other. We're like a year or so apart. We have the
Hmm.
same interest. Um, like I said, we grew up about a mile apart from each other. We lived in almost the same neighborhoods, and both of our husbands are from New York. So
Wow.
that's
Wow.
the spirit animal there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's giving energy, kindred energy for sure.
see, this is why you needed to be on the sipping chat because you never know
You
who
never know who you know.
you. You never know. You never know. See, it's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
Wow.
But yes, but yes, shout out to my boo thing Amanda and Dr. Indy Jones. I know she's gonna watch either tonight or tomorrow, and I always throw her in there. And Amanda, as you stated, Amanda Chambers has Divine Legacy Publishing.
Hmm.
Indy Jones has Kumba Publishing, and
Hmm.
Nicole Kurtz has Mocha Memoirs Press. So yes,
Ah.
when I say Legacy Book Bar is affiliated with some of the best published Black-owned publishing companies, it's legit.
Hmm.
And we get asked a lot, like, "Oh, does Legacy Book Bar publish?" Absolutely not. I refuse to get into that beast of a no.
Exactly.
I'm not
Cause
doing
you
it.
know.
Absolutely not. But I know somebody who does. So if you're looking
Yeah.
for a publisher, I can send
Hmm.
you to somebody. So
Yeah.
for sure.
Another great one. Christian Cashel. She runs the what is it, Dynamic Image Publications, and
Mhm.
I don't think, well, let me not misspeak here, but I know she does self publishing, but I'm not sure to what extent, like if she has her own publishing house. But let me double check. But she's definitely another one to look out for. I love reading her stories,
Mhm.
and her work is phenomenal. So anybody else that just letting you know,
So
she's definitely someone
hopefully,
to look out for too.
oh,
Mhm.
for sure. So hopefully, those that are watching, you're
Mhm.
sharing this broadcast because we didn't
Yeah.
drop nuggets on this episode. So
For
if you,
all of you new authors looking like,
yes,
okay, who can I work with?
we,
Bet.
we didn't
Here you
drop some
go.
names for you. So get your pad and paper, start writing these
You're
names down.
welcome.
Okay, we're not gonna send you to anybody. So
Yeah.
listen.
Mm-mm.
Okay, we know
We can't be
people.
out here doing that to each other.
We got.
We vetted these folks that we know.
That's why we're here. It's
Yeah.
great.
Like, listen, I know how it feels, and I hear so many stories when people come to me and they're like, "Oh, I tried to do the publishing thing, self-publishing, and this happened or that happened," and I was like, "Oh, my heart, oh, it just my heart hurts," and then I get angry, like, "Why y'all out here like scamming people? This is hard
and
enough as it
and
is."
and that's the part where that stigma behind self-publishing is coming in
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you have people that
Mhm.
are publishers that
Yeah.
don't know how to publish, and they're not studying, they're not
Mhm.
researching,
Yeah.
they're not being right, and then
Mhm.
you are taking thousands of dollars,
Advantage. Yeah.
yes, of authors that just want to get the work out. So
Mhm.
when customers hear, oh, self-publish, it's like, ew. But that same amount of work that went
Mhm.
into that book
Yeah.
goes into getting the books that you get from HarperCollins.
Traditionally published. Yeah.
It's the same work. It's the same
Same.
path. And
Even as far as editing, like
for
my
sure.
editing since I've been self-published has improved leaps and bounds. Before I was just out there, click, click, boom. Okay, but if it's messed up, they'll tell me in, the reviews. I didn't know how important reviews were back then either.
Mhm.
And now that I've published my first full novel, like even I have gone back and I was like, you know what? Copy editing, I need a few courses in that. I need to do better here. I need to understand the balance with line
Mhm.
editing. And it's like, okay, I'm having trouble with my characters. Maybe I need to sit down and I think self-publishing was the way to go for me because it really made me like be more critical of my own work instead of going around saying, "Oh, well, you can't do this, you can't do that." I'm like, "No, what can I do? And how can I be better in those other areas?"
For
Like,
sure.
I love doing that. And a lot of people, when you, like you said, when people hear self-publishing, they're like, "Ugh," I'm like, see, they don't know.
Mhm.
They don't know because
Yep.
I know.
And the
Mhm.
crazy thing is, if you look through the catalog of our store, if I
Mhm.
didn't tell you that our books
Mhm.
were primarily by self-published authors, you wouldn't
You
know.
wouldn't know. Yeah,
You would
you
have
wouldn't.
no clue. And it shouldn't matter if they're
It really
self-published. Now,
shouldn't.
what I tell people, because I want people to understand this is, I don't want to hide what
Yeah.
here at Legacy, and I don't want to feel like I'm hiding the talents of
Mhm.
my author. But I will say that, 100% Black owned, 100% Black authors, and
Mhm.
majority of them are self-published. But
Mhm.
with them being self-published, they potentially could have come from a self-publishing company that's owned by
Mhm.
a Black female. I have two of
Yeah.
them. I have Indy Jones and I have Amanda. And then
Mhm.
I have a publishing company, Mocha Memoirs Press, where that's the more traditionally side. So
Mhm.
depending on what book you get, you have literally supported three businesses with a purchase.
That part.
You supported
That
Legacy
part.
BookBar, the self
Mhm.
author, of course, and then the publishing company that it came with. So when you
Mhm.
purchase something from us, like, where else can you hear I supported three businesses
Mhm.
with one purchase? You
Mhm.
can't get that at a lot of places. And for those that you can, please
Mhm.
support them.
Yeah. And
Please
on
help
top of
them.
that, you're getting good stories. Like you're
Yeah.
getting amazing stories on top of that. So like the icing on the cake, yeah, you get to support three Black owned businesses and you
Mm-hmm.
get bomb stories. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how that's a win-win.
For sure. Absolutely. Because first off, it's COVID outside, so you can't really
Yes.
go but so many places.
But
So
so many places. You might
so
as well get a good book.
you might as well get you a good book, get you a couple bottles of wine or some fresh
Mhm.
coffee, whatever you drink of beverage is,
Whatever you into.
and sit
Because I
down.
got some wine chilling in the fridge right now.
Ooh, girl, me too. Child, it's been a
Always.
week.
I always keep my 2 bottles in the fridge. Listen.
We're kindred
Because
animals.
I am an author that likes to read. Like my closet is no joke. You think it's full of shoes? Since the pandemic, I ain't going nowhere. My closet is full of books. I mean, nothing but books.
Yes, I love it. That seems to be my basement has literally turned out. We call it affectionately the book warehouse because it's furniture in there, but then the
Yeah.
furniture is literally covered with books, and then the
Hmm.
tubs on the floor are filled with books. It's
See,
great. It's great. I love it.
it's fine. Everything's fine.
It's great. So yeah. So tell us. So let's go back. Talk
Okay.
about poetry. All right. I'm gonna
Hmm.
slightly put you on the spot there. I
Okay.
want you to give me a little hint of poetry. Give me
A
some
little hint of poetry.
hint of poetry that the people out here be like, oh, she write poetry. Give
Like she writing for real, for real.
for real. Yes. So I want you
Oh,
to give me
you know
something.
what? I should have been prepared because my first book, Soprano Speaks, is in the closet, and I was gonna get it today, and I was like, I ain't gonna need that. I'm good.
Of course you would. You're gonna need everything when you come on the
I
super
was
chat. You
like,
never know
because
how
I was
you
doing self edits, and my brain was not there. My brain was like, "Girl, you need to finish the story that has taken over my life." So, um,
really.
you can find some of myself. You can find some of my poetry and stuff like that on Instagram. Because I don't want to be out in these streets. And the thing is, there's poetry and there's spoken word, and I feel like there's a marriage between the two somewhat. And I can't.
Mhm.
The thing is, I have plenty of poetry, like plenty of things that I write down and just share, and I have it on my phone. But oh, actually, that's a good point. Because see, that's the thing. I didn't want to be playing on this phone and then like it disappeared. Because I was already late to the party, so I was like, let me not. Let me not press no buttons on this phone because
We don't want any technical difficulties. But we're gonna bring you
listen,
back for Poetry Month, and you better
you
be
know what?
prepared for
I
some spoken
appreciate that.
word
And I got you. I
poetry.
got you come poetry month for real, for real.
Okay,
I gotta come back now because I done said it. So I need my
we
redemption
so
arc.
for those that are listening on,
Mm,
we are live on Facebook and YouTube, so she can't get
hmm.
away from it. She's gonna
Yes,
come back for Poetry
yes.
Month, and
Well,
she gonna
thank
get some
you for having
accolades,
me back.
and we are
Because,
going to get her to give us something. Okay,
oh,
so
I've
just
got plenty.
yeah,
But
but you
you
got us in
know,
the closet. Not helping
Yeah.
me now.
Well, it's in the yeah, it's in the and I was like, listen, I can't.
Hilarious.
And now I have
So,
to come back because
no,
I'm like,
you have to.
they're gonna be like, yeah, that girl. They're gonna be like, Kay McCoy was talking that talk, and then when push came to shove, she
Ain't had
choked.
no joke. I don't what it we now this is a first for the sip and chat, y'all. So I don't even
Mhm.
know what I'm sorry. I don't know.
They
But
was like, nah, she was talking it, now be it. And I was like, no,
it's okay. But
listen, what?
for
Because
us,
again, on the internet, everything stays on the internet.
oh,
So if I
everything
try
stays
to
on
say it off
the
the
internet.
top of my head, they're gonna be like, we finna make her a gift.
Oh gosh.
That's what happened when you
Look,
talk that stuff
at
and you
least you
can't bring
know
that.
I bring my guest back. So she'll be
Mhm.
back. It's okay.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
stated
thank
that you
you.
were, of course, my dear. So stated that you are in the process of editing now a new book. What's this
Mhm.
book about?
Well, this is the sequel to A Dove's Cry. And A Dove's Cry is somewhat love story between a preacher's kid and a foul-mouthed photographer. So yeah, that's a summary in a nutshell. It's I guess you could say it's like a small town romance. They
Okay.
basically meet each other at the most unlikely place, and they end up working together, and
Okay.
something more comes out of it, but it's right on the cups of both of them having their dreams come to life, and they have to decide, do we want to do this, or do we want to go out and see what else the world has in store for us. So it's very near
Mm.
and dear to my heart because this story was not, it wasn't even supposed to be a novel, it was supposed to be a poem. That's how it started. It was just
That's a
me
big jump.
talking about it. It's a huge jump because I was there. And A Dove's Cry, I wrote that rough draft in 21 days. It would not leave me until I literally wrote the last page. 21 days.
Mm.
So yeah.
And what's the
But the
title of the book?
sequel though,
So this
the
you said this
sequel.
is a sequel to When the Doves Cry.
Yeah, this is the what I'm working on now is the sequel to Dove's Cry, which is shaping up to be a monster. It's right now. I stopped counting after 70K words. I stopped counting because I said it's in God's hands now, and I don't need to count it anymore until
Yes.
I finish the self edits. So yeah.
Okay. So we did have a comment. My mom says, "How does a poem turned into a whole novel?" We're still trying to figure that out because the word count is vastly different.
Again, the math just ain't mathing. Well,
We're not
what
doing very good
happened
math here at all.
at all? The thing is, I wrote the poem. I felt good. I was like, okay, bet I'm gonna go to bed. You think I went to bed after that? No. Literally, an image popped in my mind of Jerome. He's the main character in the story, Jerome. And then I started telling his story, and in walks in Tasha. And I don't know about the rest of y'all, but characters don't necessarily have dialogue with me. I just see scenes happening and I
Mm-hmm.
start writing those scenes and then I get dialogue. And
Okay.
so that's literally what happened for 3 weeks straight. I would teach because I teach online. I would teach
Mm-hmm.
online and then I would either be in the middle of doing something else, either consulting or editing someone else's story or anything. And literally another scene would flash by. And I wrote the ending of the story on day 14. And then I worked my way back to meet in the middle. So yeah, my poem was maybe 6 bars, maybe 6 or 7 bars, and then just took off.
And now
Like
we're at
I couldn't go to sleep that first night until I wrote the first chapter. I could not go to sleep. I
so that
tried.
so that lets you know that was never meant to be a poem. That was totally supposed to be a full
Yeah.
length novel.
Basically I was lying to myself. You know what they say, we make plans, but
God.
he leads the steps. So I'm not I'm not the one that goes to church every Sunday, but I do listen to the word when it comes to me. So I'm like, listen, let me just go ahead and find a corner and sit in it and write and we'll see what happens. And then that's how I got A Dove's Cry. And a
And
lot of people are upset with me with the ending. So
ooh, don't tell us. I'm so intrigued now. So now I have to put this in my TBR list because now I'm intrigued on
yeah, I won't say anything else, but yeah, you're
Preacher's
one of the first
Kid
to know. I'm almost finished with the sequel.
and a
Because
foul
I
mouth
had people
fuck.
message me like, "You, ma'am, please tell me you're working on a sequel," and I've left them on red because I don't want them to get their hopes up.
Well, you heard it first here. Sequel's coming,
Yeah,
so make sure you share this and let all your friends
it's
know.
coming, y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna have to send them this link and be like, okay, so here, please leave me alone. Here you go.
Major press alert, breaking news. Okay. So let everyone know for they want to because we always encourage reading here. And we,
Hmm.
you can always get books through Legacy Book Bar, and then those that are not associated, at least not yet. We always encourage reading. So where can we get your book or books
Well,
in this
right
case?
now, right now you can get A Dove's Cry. It's ebook format only because again, I'm still self-publishing. I know what I'm doing now, so I want my own books.
Okay.
So you can find A Dove's Cry online at Books to Read. You can also find it at Barnes and Noble. Apple is really hot right now. I guess I got a lot of hits from there, so I'm like, yeah, Apple too. Go ahead, it's there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I did not know because I'm an Android user, so I know nothing about this Apple life, but I'm getting there.
Okay.
So
And did you
that's where you
publish
can
through
find it
Amazon?
now.
Did you publish through
No,
Amazon?
I do not publish with Amazon right now. So that's something I may revisit next year. But for
Okay.
now, you can find my work pretty much on Barnes and Noble. Also public libraries, because again, I don't think I would have ventured into as much reading as I did as a kid if it wasn't for public libraries. So that's like my next big goal before publishing anything on Amazon. I want to make sure that my books are available at public libraries. So that's something I'm
Okay.
working on now with like Hulapa, I think it's called. So yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
my next goal.
Okay. All right, guys. So you heard it here. And if they wanted to follow you on social media, where
Mhm.
can they follow you for updates on your newest book?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook under author K McCoy, and I am on Twitter for those of you who like to run in them Twitter streets. You can
Mm-hmm.
find me under K Ro McCoy too on Twitter and mainly on WordPress. WordPress under author kmccoy.com.
Okay. All right. So we asked this of all of our authors.
Mhm.
So we're going to flash forward 35, 40 years.
Ooh,
We're going to
I'll
flash
be a
forward.
salt and pepper chick. Let's go.
Yes, you'll be fabulous with it though.
Yeah.
And you look back and you can look at your body of work across, romance subgenres, and if you branch into something else. When you look back in 30, 40 years and you look back at your life, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, that is a bomb question. That's a really bomb ass question. Thank you for asking. Because I hadn't thought past 5 years. So let me think about it. Let's see. My legacy would be to share with people the possibility of doing things on your own terms, not being afraid to do things on your own terms, even if those that you love may think you're crazy or may think you're doing too much. You are never too much for the right people. So going out there and doing you and being resilient and just living your best life. I think that I want that to be my legacy, to be free and honest in your decisions and whatever it is you decide to do. And just try to inspire people. Like, I hope my story, especially A Dove's Cry, I hope
Mm-hmm.
that story inspires people to go out and pursue their dreams and don't, hold back and just go out there and be themselves, be your most authentic self.
I love it. Very
Oh, wow.
great answer to our signature question. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
I ain't think that far ahead. Ooh, let me wrap my head around it.
That signature question gets them all the time. We love it. You were a perfect guest here on the Sip and Chat. Thank
Ah,
you
perfect
so
guess.
much.
They show up on time. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, technically, you were. We just had some technical difficulties, but we're good, and the show
That's
is
true.
still
Yeah,
fabulous.
I know now.
It's okay.
I know from when I come back with my poetry, because that ain't gonna leave my spirit. I'm gonna have to come back.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
Mhm,
Well, again,
mhm.
thank you so, so much for being here with the Sip and
Yeah.
Chat. Tell all of
Thank
your
you for
friends, author
having
friends,
me. Yeah.
absolutely. So,
Mhm,
if you are a Black author, it does not matter what genre it is. And if you are looking to get your story told and story heard, like author K. McCoy, please email us at info@legacybookbar.com or at legacybookbar@gmail.com. And
mhm.
subject title be bold, be heard. And let's get you on the next episode of the Sip and Chat. Tonight was great. Don't forget
Okay.
to tune in next Friday when we have the author panel as we start Black Children's Book Week. Next week, I will have Amanda Chambers with Divine Legacy Publishing. I will have Gerald Johnson, who is also a book author. Two of his books are currently being sold at Legacy Book Bar. I
Mhm.
have author Jay Asmara, who her book club is Saturday, and then she will be back on Friday, and
Mhm.
she's going to talk about her book, Michaela and Friends, and you can also get that at Legacy Book Bar, along with her other 4 or 5 other book titles
Ooh.
that she writes in urban fiction. You can get that. And then we also, I feel like I'm missing somebody. I know I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing? They're gonna kill me. Please forgive me. I have worked hard today. I am so
Yeah.
sorry. But it's going to be a fabulous turnout
Mhm.
next Friday. Trust and believe. The flyers are going out this weekend on social media. So just make sure you tune in. Bring all your babies to YouTube and Facebook because they're going to want to see the books, the boys and girls that look just like them. And guess what?
Yes.
Next Friday starts our kitty sale, so 25% off all our baby books. So you're going to want to make sure that you tune in and make sure that you are a part of the sale. As always, you guys have a nice night. Stay really, really safe as much as you can in these COVID streets. And I will see you next Friday night right here on another episode of the Legacy Book Bar Sip and Chat. You guys have a great night.
Bye.